Hey, welcome back to a very new video. But if you're new, my name is Katja and this channel is my online diary about thousands of lives that I want to live through: music, travel, language studies, books, basically all things that I love in life. Today it's Monday, the 27th of October, meaning I didn't start filming when Sserafim dropped Spaghetti. Not an actual plate of spaghetti, but their very first mini album, and also when Sigrid dropped her third album called There's Always More That I Could Say. Both works are so amazing for completely different ways. I think they couldn't have been more different. No, they could have, but it's a stretch, okay? But yeah, the thing is, I couldn't film when they dropped their works because, and then it started raining. Seriously, I have been trying to film the same part, this part, over and over and over because it has been pouring rain every single second, and when it doesn't, the sun is shining, but that's only for 1 second and then it's gone. So if you hear something in the background, it's the rain. Anyway, like the rain disrupted right now. Last week we had a lot of things that we had to deal with in regards to us moving later this year. If you didn't know yet, I'm gonna be moving. Yes, I'm freaking happy about that. But it's a lot because we also have to sell this house, and I don't think I am comfortable yet as of right now to say like, okay, this is the status. Everything is going well, only certain things are taking longer than expected, and that's also one of the reasons why I couldn't film last week, because we had to make certain decisions and yada yada yada. Here we are today, and I'm just filming from today till Friday, and then Friday I will start a new vlog because then Florence and the Machine will be dropping their newest album. Only we already got a sneak peek today because she decided to drop a third single before she dropped the full-on album. Then I'm like, what? But you know what? I'm gonna be talking a lot about her album in the next vlog. In this vlog, we're gonna be talking about Sserafim, Spaghetti, and their amazing artistry. I did not know what to expect when they were like, okay, Spaghetti it is. And I was like, what? It only started to make sense when Junjin did a We First Live and she explained how she came up with the concept, or well, like, it's truly a concept. She came up with an idea and she filled this whole document with things that she was like, okay, I want to make this, and that really signifies a new chapter of Sserafim. One that I was not expecting. Yes, I was expecting them taking in more rain over their career, but I was not expecting it the way how it's going to be and how it now sounds. But it makes so much sense when you do a deep dive into the lyrics. It's really them and it's their story. It's not so much lore, but it's more history, if that makes sense. I mean, lore can be history, but in this case, I think it's separate because it is more about things that happened to Sserafim, and the fact that Jinjin came up with this after she did a music show during the hot era. So it is also quite recent, and that blows my mind because the K-pop world overall works in frames of like 2, 3, 4 years maybe even. But in this case, that was only this spring that she came up with this idea, and then it happened already. I think that's so fascinating to me that oh, more destruction by motorcycles and whatnot. In this rain? I'm not your mama. Anyway, yeah, So I will talk more about that. I will be also talking about Sigrid, her album. I think it's incredible. I also have some plans with Le Sserafim that is basically a do-it-yourself, because if you remember, I was not really happy by the packaging of, I will show later in this vlog, but the packaging that they had for On Off, the 20, it was 22, 23, so 23, 24 now. Yes, that packaging, I hated that packaging. So I was like, you know what? I'm also gonna take Rain and we're gonna make something. I can't wait to show you guys. What else? I also want to work on language studies, like always. Mostly Korean. I think that's gonna be my focus language for this week. German, I feel very confident with German, but I think I'm gonna put a pin on that language during this week and just focus on Korean, because I really want to finish up reviewing level 1, and also I'm gonna study something new, and that is I'm actually currently in an annotation masterclass. I will also talk more about that later, because I think it's always good to broaden my horizons, and I want to talk about reading books in different ways. I personally like to take an approach through the eyes of a philosopher, because I love philosophy. I like to do a deep dive on thoughts, on world building by authors. I also work in the publishing industry, but still there's always more that you can learn, and I'm currently doing that masterclass, and it really has opened my eyes how I can perceive text in different ways. So that's also something I'm gonna do. Anyway, let's get into this vlog. Let me update you guys on what I've been reading. Well, I'm still very deep into the Apothecary Diaries universe. I am reading volume 3, and y'all, I can't get enough of this series, just because, especially when it comes down to the light novel, because it contains details that we don't really hear or see in anime or manga. It describes thoughts that it's really hard to show, and I mean, you can still do that because Mao Mao, her inner thoughts, they get a narration, but then again, we do know that her thoughts are not always true. She is fooling herself a lot of the times, which makes sense because she is protecting herself, and that's the way how she does it. But I'm especially interested in Jinchi because I was not expecting certain things about him, and that's also really what pushed me to read the light novel, because I didn't understand his behavior at certain points. But now I do, especially with the third. I mean, I'm not even that far in, but I'm starting to understand him more, and that makes sense because volume 3, it's part of the second season of the anime, and in the second season we get to know more of his history, and also, well, the kind of history he is part of. And I'm wondering when he's getting to know who he really is. It's getting hinted at already in this one. It will be known by the 4th or maybe even the 5th light novel, I believe, but I'm not entirely sure. So that's also the reason why I'm so deep into the universe, because I want to get to the point where he knows his true destiny. I need to know what's happening, okay? So that's why I'm completely obsessed with this whole universe. Anyway, let's carry on. For this hump day, aka Wednesday, we're gonna do a do-it-yourself, because do you remember this atrocious thing? It's the On Off by Le Sserafim for the year 23 24, and it came in this plastic, even though the year before they did this beautiful box and it even won many designer prizes in Korea. So how did they went from a beautiful box to this? I simply can't stand it. But the thing is, I wanted to create something myself, but this came out somewhere in spring, I believe. And well, when in spring, certain hobby stuff isn't available as of yet, but it is once fall hits, because then it's the moment when everyone is wanting to prepare for the holiday season, and you have these beautiful boxes. I choose this light blue box so I can customize it myself, and it has a magnet. I thought it was very fitting for the box that they did a year ago, even though that box is pink, but I didn't have all the choices. Like, I had this color available in this size because this size fits this perfectly, and some kind of a beige, and then there was a dark red, and I was like, okay, from those three colors, this one was the correct size. And I also really like the color. It fits the Sserafim. I mean, they have this Fearnot blue. Even though this is not the correct color blue, I think it's more fitting. Even though I wished I could have gone for a pink, but the pink one, there was a bright pink, but it was just too small that I was like, ooh, I'm not sure if it's fitting. Even though I thought it would be more perfect for this era. This was the, oh no, Perfect Night. Perfect Night it was called. I love that era. It was so unexpected, that era, but perfect. Anyway, so we've got blue. It fits the crazy era very well. So yeah, let's work with this. I'm gonna find every sticker that I can get. These thingies, they unfortunately can't be peeled off, so I'm a little bit sad about that, but I do want to rescue them and put them on here, maybe. But then again, they do clutch when it comes down to the colors. We'll have to see. So yesterday evening, I was just chilling, and then I was like, no, I want to do something. So I put on an audiobook, and I decided to work on the on-off Le Sserafim case, box, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I had such a blast. I know it's just very little, but I was wondering like, okay, how can I make it prettier? And the thing is, I got some stickers from the Easy and the Crazy albums, so I used those. But then it also contains officially the on-off from this era, Perfect Night, but I don't have any pink or purple stickers that would fit this era, so I think I will get those next year. The reason why I'm not getting them right now is just because I'm saving money for the move. There are some furnitures that I need because certain furniture things, oh gosh, I mentioned this before, but some things got ruined when we had a very big leak. So I need new furniture, so that's where I'm saving my money right now. Anyway, and also there are so many things going on with the move that I was like, I can only do low maintenance things right now. Okay, so here we are. I've got stickers from the Easy and the Crazy era. I really like especially this one. I like their logo, a little bit different. And then I put this one on the side. So the idea in the future, besides getting those purple and pink stickers, I hope to get like stars. That's the ultimate goal. Next year I am traveling to, well, I always travel all the time to Germany, but I'm gonna go to a bigger city, and then I'm planning to go to a very big craft store, so they will probably have it. But yeah, that's my plan. So what was I even saying? Okay. Let's just go here. So this is the thing that I want to have turned towards me when it's standing in a bookcase or on my shelf. However, just having simply this, like their logo, is amazing, but I also want to have it set like on off, and of course there's a motor in the background. So on off, and then the years. The thing is, however, I don't know how to create that. Maybe I can find that in the crafty store. I really want to have one day a cricket to make my own stickers, but those things are expensive, and like I said, I'm saving money right now. Anyway, so this will do for now, just the logo. This was from their EC album, yes. This one as well, of course, and these two are from Crazy. And then, okay, so over here we have another Crazy. I just thought this one was very fitting for the opening side. Anyway, then we open it up. Everything's in here. I saved these two from the packaging just because I was like, yeah, I really want to keep those. But I think this yellow strip, I want to put it in the front. So it says everything that I need to know. And then surround it with pink and purple stars. That's the plan as of right now. I don't know if it would look cute, but I think it would be cute. But yeah, that's gonna be a project for next year. During the intro, I already mentioned that I'm currently doing an annotation masterclass, and y'all, I'm having so much fun with it. I'm not even that far. I am at lesson 5, writing the prompt of module 1. And here's the thing, I've been working in publishing well over a decade, almost 11 years, and depending how you look at it, because I also did some ambassadorship with my blog, it has started already since I was like 16 and I'm almost 30. So 13 years of me working kind of in publishing in various ways. It has been so much fun. But with that, I have been looking at reading so differently. And because when I read it for work, you know? And that's all fun and games until you don't see the fun in it anymore, because everything you read feels like work. However, with this masterclass, even though I'm only at module 1, I find the fun back, because this masterclass, it makes me look different at text, at books, at fiction, in general, the written word, because I'm consuming it differently now. I'm consuming it in a way that, how do I explain this? It's a different way of attention, just because work, when I read a book for work, I read it like, okay, does the publisher like it? Would this fit in their standard? Would this fit alongside other authors they already have, you know? But this time around, I get to fully focus on, okay, what do I think about the text? And even though, yes, I have already done that plenty of times because I write about books on my blog as well, this masterclass makes me focus on completely different things. And I just love that. I also really like the way how the person who made this, and that is, let me pull up her name. Wait, her name should be somewhere here. Or is that in the workbook? Yeah, that's a super cool thing. You get a workbook with this if it wants to focus. Here we go. And I think that's super cool. The workbook is amazing, but I also like that the classes are different from just the workbook. It's because sometimes I have the feeling that workbooks, especially when it is a course that's being sold on Instagram or on social media in general, I have the feeling like, oh, you know what, it's just the same, the workbook as the classes, you know? But no, it really enhances what she says. And her name is, I'm so bad with names, so I'm trying to find it. I know she's amazing. She is that Hunger Games teacher on Instagram. That's her name over there. But what is her name? Where can I find it? I'm sorry. Or was it during module 1? Oh, I don't want to show it too much to you guys. Okay, here we go. I pulled up the masterclass workbook and there is her name. I would love to say her name out loud, but if I would, it would sound very Dutch. So I'm just not gonna. But yeah, she's amazing. I also talked with her on Instagram, and she seems like a great spirit. And also just the classes in general, they are amazing. So highly recommend her if you want to also learn how to annotate and how it would enhance your reading. Welcome to the wrap up part of this video. I'm filming this quite a bit later. Like, it's normal for me to do so, especially when it comes down to the wrap up of me talking about music, but this time around it's for completely different reasons. First up, because of the house. I've mentioned this so many times, so you're probably sick of me. But yeah, buying, selling a house, and then the moving process, it's all so much. In order for me to stay somewhat sane, I have to prioritize everything around moving and work. And yeah, the second thing is as well, I have a work update. In 2 vlogs from now, I will talk more in depth about it, and I'm also taking you kind of along with me when I had a certain meeting in regards to work. So yeah, it will be later revealed. But as of right now, what I can say, it is a lot altogether. And in order for me, like I said, to stay sane, to stay okay, priorities and setting boundaries is even more important right now, even though it's super annoying for me to make content because first up, I barely have the time. Second up, find a time that has good lighting because especially in autumn, winter time, it's really hard to do so. But luckily my mom had to pop out for some work stuff, so I have all the house to myself, aka no noises coming from inside the house. And I can just make as much content as I want until she comes back. So I have a few hours to myself, and I'm just gonna use it for you guys and for my blog and for my writing and for whatnot. But yeah, what I also want to say is, if there are some things that I don't mention in this outro, even though I said it along somewhere during this vlog, like the intro or in another clip, I'm so sorry if I forgot to mention anything. It's just, yeah, hectic right now. I believe with language studies, I already talked about it during the vlog. If I didn't, in the week when I was originally filming that vlog, I wasn't studying as much. I am, however, and that started during that time, me speaking multiple languages and trying to embed foreign languages in my day-to-day life, it has been really interesting, but it's also, I found struggles with it because not necessarily with learning new languages, it is also like you find limits in your own native tongue. And I have had that before, but for some reason, especially it started during that week and it has been something I've been dealing now for the last few weeks. It's just so interesting to see the limits of your own language, but also the limits of other languages, and because you get to know other languages, so you know there are certain words, certain sayings that other languages simply don't have. And what I can already say is that work, what I'm gonna do very soon, actually this week when I'm filming this, it is in the Dutch language completely, and it has been a while since I've completely worked in the Dutch language, because even when I was doing other things work related over the last few years, there were always certain parts of English terms. I think the last time I truly worked completely in the Dutch language was last summer. Not like last summer, sorry, the summer of 2024. So yeah, it has been a while. and I think it's also really important to keep up my own language, so I've been doing that as well, studying my own language more. It's quite funny when you start learning languages, then you also not only see the limits of your own language, but also what you still have to learn about your own language, because language is always moving. So that has been interesting. Anyway, let's talk music. Sigrid. I was a listener of her that had her on repeat a lot of times in October. I was one of her top listeners in that month, so super cool. But where do I stand with this album? So we have Sugar Punch, How to Let Go, and then There's Always More That I Could Say, her third album. All these albums, they serve such a different purpose. This is more of a pop album. Then we have How to Let Go, that is, I want to say, more leaning towards indie. Does that make sense? Am I even right? There's Always More That I Could Say feels definitely of a grown-up version of How to Let Go. But at the same time, the thing is, with How to Let Go, I have so many memories with this album. It came out right after my best friend passed away. Actually, a couple of friends of mine passed away around the same time, which was really tough. But when this album came out, it felt like a hug that I needed at that certain time. And I don't have the same memories. Thank God. I don't have the same memories with this new album. But I don't exactly have other memories attached to this, so me thinking about this third album will always be a little bit different, but I do see the ginormous growth that Sigrid has gone through. But at the same time, I just love this album so much just because of personal attachment. So I was really wondering, because I've said this multiple times, I don't like comparing works from the same artist, like, and say, okay, which album is better. It's just personal preferences, like the memories you make with them. And even though I love this album, this probably will forever be one of my favorite albums of her. I also think she has grown so much with this, which I can't put my mind to it, just because this album is already such a great work of art, and it feels like she made so much progress in her adulthood with that particular album that I'm so surprised that she could even top it. I do, however, think that the sound is a little bit better on this one, but also, again, personal preferences, there is a bit more of an edge to this one that is very different from this one. This one feels like, how do I explain this the best? This album, no, this one, it feels like there was a bigger story of multiple layers. It's a story that continued over multiple years, and this album like longer than two, you know, it's like a life story. And this album feels more like a snapshot of 2 years, which is good. Every album serves their own purpose. And it's quite interesting because I have the feeling this is the first time that Sigrid really has done that, to go in depth about 2 years. And funny enough, there's even a song about it, 2 years on this one. But it feels like she goes into depth in a very small amount of time of the feelings that she was feeling. Do I have a favorite song of this one? Because like, I don't really have that much more to say. I just love it. Like, hello, I was one of her top listeners last month. Even though, which makes me so surprised, because this album came out on the 24th. So, how was I one of her top listeners? But apparently I listened to this album quite a bit. So, it should tell you everything that you need to know. Do I have a favorite on this album? Oh, I don't know. I really like Fearnot, but I also like Jellyfish. Yeah, I think those two are my favorites. I also really like the music in Fearnot. I think it has just such a funny build up that I'm always smiling when I hear that particular song. And also I think the song in general is very relatable, universal. So yeah, okay, let's talk the Sserafim because they came out with a single album and I think that was the perfect way to do so because it is such a powerful comeback, this one. It contains the sound. Oh yeah, again, I'm reading from my essay. If you want to read the full essay, I will link it down below. But yeah, I have my notes pulled up here on the screen. Anyway, this single album is such a powerful comeback that contains the sound of artists who have moved past grief, past defense, and into their own peace. When mini album Hot, when that whole process of making the album and when it came out, the heat was basically still on them. But Spaghetti is what they are serving now. After the heat is off, it is now like, okay, you know what? The food is cooked, it's done. With Spaghetti, the girls are reflecting about the chaos of 2024. If you don't know, so please look it up on the internet. There is honestly too much about that era we don't want to relive. They are reflecting on that chaos of being consumed by the public. And with Pearlies, they are reflecting gratitude for the ones who stayed. It's so interesting that that happened and the way how they decided to tell the story on this single album. And I also believe this single album couldn't have been more than 2 songs. I think this is perfect. It's also the perfect way how they are taking control because the girls, they are all over this album. They have always been involved and Junjin has been a producer for multiple songs now. But with this particular single album, they really went for it. And what is that sound outside? Oh, tractor. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, he also moved past just a couple of seconds ago. That's why I've been reshooting this same clip, like always, for multiple times. Anyway, so when we look at the Spaghetti music video, I love how the stage design is satire. Like, it's so clean, it's aesthetic, and then boom, a food truck comes crashing in, and it's them. And I love it. I love that it's a food truck. It couldn't have been anything else because with a food truck, it's them saying like, hey, we serve when we want. We cook whatever we want. The menu is on us. Like, we decide what's on there. And trust me, you're gonna like it whenever we serve it, whatever we're serving. And then there was so much noise coming from the outside that I had to stop filming. There is still noise outside. I apologize. Trust me, I'm way more annoyed because I've been filming this part now for at least an hour. And I really want to move on because there are certain things that I really need to do today. So we're just gonna move along with it. I hope that the camera just doesn't pick up as much on the sound as I do. Anyway, I left off right before I wanted to mention the Unforgiven music video because back then they didn't even knew Spaghetti was gonna happen. But what I think is so interesting about that music video now, even though again they didn't knew it was gonna happen, is the fact that we see the Fimmies causing chaos in a restaurant. And now they are the food truck. I think that's such a funny thing. Also, spaghetti has all these bright colors, while Unforgiven was quite muted. It gives a contrast of their growth, and I will talk about their growth later during their other song. However, okay, spaghetti. I don't know what I've already mentioned, so I'm probably gonna say some things double. But when the food truck comes crashing in, it is basically them saying, hey, we're gonna come over whenever we want, we're gonna serve whatever we want, and trust me, you're gonna like it. This is their way of not clapping back, but Sserafim framed the whole situation as goofy. You want to be a food critic? Cool. But also please lick the plate. The song sidesteps moral lectures and shows the loop of the haters. This creates a balance of being pointed but unserious at the same time. And having J-Hope on this track, from all the rappers they could have, well, not really picked, like, so I'm gonna say it between quotation marks. J-Hope is just simply the best fit. Especially if you know his history inside BTS, but also on a song like Spaghetti, it just works because with RM you would get more of well, he would fit though, just the same with Suga. It's just a different genre with the girls, but for this particular way of relaying the message, I think J-Hope is just the perfect person. And he also, in his verse, he flips the perspective. Like, in general, people are going to write fictional versions of you anyway. And you can lean in and headline their plot. Because while they are out building narratives, Les Sserafim might as well run the genre. So going back into that, and also, yeah, the even more importance of J-Hope on this track, because this particular genre, it asks for someone like J-Hope. One day the Fimmies will be the hero, the next day the villain, before going back to the redemption arc. So the girls are cooking any genre you want, but it doesn't mean they are whatever you say. And having J-Hope on here is just, again, it's so perfect when you know his history with the band and also who he is as an artist. He also had to make a certain growth. Like, he is represented as hope, but there's also very much a dark side to him. And also, if you listen to Jack in the Box but then Hope on the Streets, you see two different people of J-Hope, but also the mixtape that he brought out, which contain chicken noodle soup. You see more the Hope side over there, but with Jack in the Box and Hope on the Street, there's a different narrative going on. So him being on here just makes so much sense. The same goes with the whole kitchen metaphor. It's perfect because it turns criticism into appetite. Whatever you say or ask for, the Sserafim keeps surfing, and your request is proof that you're still here. However, it are the Fimmies who control the menu. They serve what they want. The song says with this, let's get real here, you will like it anyway. So basically going back into the food truck, that's them. That's them just crashing into your daily life. The result of this track is that it's goofy, but said with a smirk and no care for defense. Basically, Spaghetti is a diss track without the debris. Then we move along to Pearlies. And then in brackets, my oyster is the world. The second track switches the audience. It isn't for everyone watching, it is for the community that stayed with them. The tempo relaxes and even the language uses changes. Where Spaghetti is a public statement, Pearly is an inside conversation. This made me remember And also thanks to Junjun, her insights in interviews she gave about this single album, we know that what is real was a question that she asked during the storm of 2024. But also again, for this specific track, what is part of the performance and what is real? Sserafim chose to get rid of the strong posture because surviving isn't glamorous. It is just waking up and doing the reps again, again, and again. They don't overshare, neither is their martyr energy, which, yeah, it shows who they are as person. They don't call out like with Spaghetti. It's a diss track, but there's no debris. However, with Pearlies, you can tell that they have found their calmness. The world is my oyster started out as the Fimi's debut slogan. It is about going out and taking things on. After 3.5 years with girls, we got to update. My oyster is the world. The way how a Sserafim sees themselves and how they want to show up changed. It's a result of time and pressure. Or, aka, pearls. When we look at the lyrics and go a little bit more deep diving, well, actually deep diving, that was not a pun that was intended, but it does work perfectly fine with this song. Anyway, when we go deep diving into the lyrics, and then especially the last part of the song, it's the Fimmies that are like, okay, as the sea itself, waves are expected, but we are going to make pearls out of it. And that is how the oyster is now their world. The songs on this single album complement each other while being mirrors at the same time. One can't go without the other one. The lyrics read like acceptance, the last stage of grief. They won't forget what happened, but instead of living in spite, they are busy building their world. This single album is perfect. It shouldn't have been any longer. Like I just said, these songs work perfectly and they tell this story of them. It closes out a chapter of their life. And even though I thought with Hot they already did that, I mean, it was the start, that era, it was the start of them being back on socials again. Like, they turned the comments on, even though they were off for quite a year before, well over a year or so. Yeah, I guess it was around a year that they had turned the comment section off on all their social media platforms. And even though Hot was perfect, and I believe that Hot was also the anthem of the trilogy, the Easy Crazy Hot trilogy, things were left. And I didn't necessarily notice it during that time, because Hot was definitely also about moving on and rising from the ashes. I do think they never had truly the time to make a form of a diss track, and they did it now. They decided like, hey, you know what? There's something left, because we didn't fully, well, they weren't there yet, you know, because Hot was such an ending, but also a new beginning, that not every thought was fully fleshed out when they put out that particular mini album. But now they got the chance to do so, and making it any longer wouldn't have worked. This is just perfect to make it a single album. It's very powerful, and I really like it for what it is, and how involved the girls are, and showing so many sides of themselves. It's also very Sserafim, this whole album. You would still say like, hey, this fits their narrative, it fits their discography. It's truly them, and it makes sense because this is the most them that they have ever been. Yeah, I really like it. You know what? I'm starting to talk in loops, so let's not do that. But yeah, I am wondering what the next chapter will be. Like, no pressure. Like, please take a rest, take a vacation, because currently the girls are doing their encore in Japan. So please take a rest and do whatever you need to do. But we are now, like, a part of their discography is now completed. It's like done. Their story, it's there. And now we're gonna move on to something new, which makes me wonder where they will go and how they will take even more control probably on the next work. Spaghetti was something that just came about, but how is this album gonna influence their future and their artistry? And they are setting new boundaries. I mean, even with the music video, I didn't talk about how there were 3 very famous drag queens in there, and it reminded me when I saw them in there, I was like, hey, this is so much fun and interesting at the same time, because when Junjin came into Le Sserafim and she said to the world, basically, like, I'm gonna change the industry, and everyone was giving her so much hate for it, that even during the second documentary series that she had this conversation with Bang Seok, and he was asking her very good questions. But also, yeah, how does Le Sserafim see that changing up the industry? How are they taking that? How are they gonna take that challenge? Or is it even a challenge? And I do think with Spaghetti, the music video, and having the 3 drag queens on, but also what they did during the crazy era and during their stages for music shows, and I want to say something else, but I didn't came up with the word, but like the music shows, those end of the year awards, yeah, award shows. They do things just so differently from the others in K-pop that I'm like, you know what? I really stand the right group. They are changing up the industry in a way that fits them, but also it... How do I say this? I think they don't put certain pressure on, like they don't market it like, oh, there are 3 drag queens in this music video. No, they are saying, they are just like, oh, hey, they're also in this music video, but they don't overly promote it. They're like, of course they are in here. They fit, it works, it is perfect. And it's just them showing in their artistry like, hey, there are all kinds of people and it's all okay, and this is our story, and this is what we want our future to be, and this is how we're gonna shape it. So yeah, I think that's super interesting about Le Sserafim and why I stand them, why I love them so much, and why I think their music is great. Like, it has so many layers. Like, even what I just said about this album, about the songs, it are just some of the things that mostly stood out to me, but there are so many things that stood out to me. There are so many layers, and that truly makes them them. Anyway, I talked long enough with so many interruptions. Editing me is gonna hate it. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you also liked the album of Le Sserafim, and if you haven't listened to it, that you're gonna check it out. And I hope to see you next time. Okay, bye!